After the break, we'll take a look at...
Pardon the interruption for a very important news update.
This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther, farther, farther. Theme hits loud, then the grips come off. Call out the card, call every payoff. Botches, legends, titles, and heat. Pay-per-view nights, run it back, repeat. They slam, we analyze. Move for move, every feud, every bruise, every dreaming move. This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. No script, just true. Every jab breaks through. From the bell to the brawl. Name the show. We want it all. 1, 2, 3. This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther.
Well, happy Saturday, fellow wrestling fans. Welcome to another edition of the No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast here on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel and FTS. And I'm Bobby Melendez, joined always by my tag team partner, the one, the only, the best there is, the best there ever was, Josh, the Hitman Kimmelnator. Kimmel, what's up, brother?
Man, this is Bret Hart era, so I guess I'll take it, man. We just watched WrestleMania 10. We've watched 10 now, Bobby, and I'm not fatigued. I don't know how to say it. Like, I'm lost of words. No Hogan, just blissful, just high energy, just fun. A fun card. It was so much fun. There was only one match I did not like. So we'll talk about it, Bobby. But yeah, just let everyone know, no Dynamite rundown this week. I slacked off, but we'll get to it this Thursday. So we have a lot of things going on the channel, Bobby. We have Real Talk Wrestling. We have your Nitro reviews. We have my Dynamite rundown, and we have our WrestleMania rewind every single Saturday. And I'm pumped for this channel, dude. I am pumped.
Dude, I am ultra excited. Like, somebody asked me the other day, I was on the phone with them, and they're like, aren't you burnt out? Like, is this not like, I was like, it's running FTSN, doing Dolphins and Heat, I'm tracing Giannis Antetokounmpo. Is Giannis going to come to the Heat? I'm doing all that. And now I'm doing the wrestling channel. But I was like, really, I'm not doing too much. We've already been doing all this stuff, but now we're doing a couple extra things. But I'll be honest, wrestling's a passion. And I love it. Going back and watching Nitro, we're doing a Nitro Rewind series on the channel, and watching episode 1, 3 matches, 45 minutes, Flair and Surfer Sting going at it. That was cool. Flying Brian and Liger. And then you had Big Bubba taking on Hogan for the title. Big main event. Not really, but still Luger showing up. Very cool. A lot of cool stuff. And I'm going to tell you how hyped I am for this channel. I actually watched some of Dynamite the other night. I actually turned it on. I went and I clicked on it and I sat down and watched it. My son's like, is that Ricochet? We paused at the Ricochet Jericho match. So that's how excited I am for this channel and what we have in store for you. I cannot wait for Dynamite Rundown. I'm excited about getting to episode 2 of Nitro. We have Sabu taking on Alex Wright in the first contest of that match. Sabu, the debut. So I'm looking forward to that. But I have to say, 10 WrestleManias in, I'm going to be able to say, Josh, at the end of this, that we've seen every WrestleMania. And we can actually judge every WrestleMania. And I will tell you, this one, and as I was watching, it's like, man, this is a really great Mania. Like, it kind of kept the pace up. There was one match, I'm not talking about it, it might be, you might think of that 35. Not talking about that one. There's one there that the guy I really love in there. And I was kind of like, what the hell is this? But other than that, we'll get to it. And we'll get right into it. And we'll start, of course, this is the first WrestleMania without Hulk Hogan. This is a new era. And you see that from the very start. This is probably the first WrestleMania, at least the last two WrestleManias, where I really enjoyed the opening contest. And why wouldn't I? You start off with Owen Hart taking on his brother Bret Hart in a sibling rivalry. Good story. You could feel the emotion of it. 20 minutes this match went. Owen Hart defeats Bret Hart, but my goodness, what a contest. And you could see, first off, you see how, when you got the guys who are technical, like, again, Bret still lacks in, I think Owen was a little better on the mic. He conveyed a lot more emotion. Bret, it was weaker in that stage, but in the ring, even though Owen was very good, you could see where Bret was superior, but also you could see how effortless these two guys made it. I mean, when you watch these big guys, they can't do those type of moves without hurting each other. These guys, it's like melted butter. I mean, it makes it easy. I was showing my son, I go, do you see how they do that? Go back and look at this. This move, if you really did this to somebody, you're going to hurt somebody. Right? Yeah. But you could tell where he puts all the weight on one knee but it's just like, it's so easy. The Bret Hart era made WCW number one. Fair enough, right? We'll talk about towards the end. We'll talk about at the end what I saw and what kind of spoke to that. But what we could say about Bret Hart, you could say, oh, was he one of the greatest of all time? Did he deserve to be in that spot? He got the spot. Did it matter? We'll get to that later. That would be a conversation for another day. I don't disagree, really, but you saw how good he was in this contest. And this was the first WrestleMania. It was like, it starts off with a bang. It set the tone for the rest of the show. What did you think of Owen Hart taking on Bret Hart and getting the victory over his brother?
Yeah, this was the best match on the card. It was the best match by far. I'm not saying it went down from here, but it did because this was the best match on the card. I love the end. This told a listen, all you sickos out here. This is the definition of how you tell a story in the ring. A story in the ring. Owen Hart and Bret, they wanted to wrestle to see who was better. Or at least Owen did, and Bret didn't want to do it. Then we saw the video package. We actually covered that pay-per-view, I believe, where Owen turned on Bret when they lost the tag team championship match. But they showed the whole story of why they're fighting, and it's a wrestling match. Who was better? Who is better? So it was a wrestling match. They were doing holds. They were doing locks. They were grappling. There was no Owen wasn't doing heel stuff yet. Bret wasn't doing all of his stuff yet. They were just truly wrestling. And then once Owen learned he couldn't get the upper hand, that's when he started taking shortcuts. That's storytelling in a ring, people. That is how you do it, sickos. That was beautiful. This whole match was great. Owen winning was amazing. Owen, man, I know it's said a lot, but if that didn't happen, where we lost him too early, he'd still be here today, and we'd be talking about other matches that he had with other people, and it's just unfortunate. But this match alone was my favorite on the card. It might be a top 3 WrestleMania match up to date. Like, this is up here with Macho, Steamboat. This is up there with those because I just love Owen so much.
Yeah, the one move, it just tells you how much trust they had with each other, but also just how scientific they were in the ring, where, you saw a pile driver, you saw the tombstone, Owen Hart's tombstone pile driver, which of course is infamous for what it does to Steve Austin a couple years later, but when I saw that, I kind of cringed. I was like, oh, but still, when you notice it, it never really touched the hair. It just tells you, that makes you think, like, how can you not have protected Steve? But it doesn't. Just those two are so good, and I agree with you. It makes you think, like, and we got a little more of Owen, but we know the tragedy, and that if Owen had survived or lived on, what could have been, maybe the matches we could have seen, I always think about that even with Bret Hart. Bret Hart never got hurt. If he never had the stroke, what could have been? Maybe Kurt Angle versus Bret Hart, or Kurt Angle versus Owen Hart. They would have been older, but again, how good Kurt Angle is, probably would have had a great match, or how great these two guys were in the ring. They could have made it look like a great match. Either way, I agree with you. It set the tone for the rest of the show. It's hard for other matches to follow that, but the show, I think, did a good job keeping the pace and also entertaining enough for the fans in Madison Square Garden. They made it feel like a big deal. McMahon was on commentary with Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler was funny, but McMahon, Yeah, it was McMahon and Jerry Lawler. Gorilla Monsoon was there. He was still healthy. You got to hear him in the recap segments where they're kind of rewinding. You talk about special moments in WrestleMania history. I wish we would have heard him a lot more. I mean, I love listening to Gorilla Monsoon. We didn't. I think Bobby Heenan, I think, is gone at this point. I think he's on WCW at this point. So, and we're getting closer to that WCW Monday Night War at this point. However, WrestleMania 10 follows up after a great start with Bam Bam Bigelow versus Luna Vachon versus taking on Doink the Clown and Dink the Clown in a mixed tag match. Okay, I just talked about how none of these matches were, it was a fun WrestleMania, but this one I was kind of like, you have Bam Bam Bigelow on the card. You have Bam Bam Bigelow, and you can't put him in a decent. Now he does, we know, down the line, but what a stupid match. And again, Doink the Clown. I always looked at him as kind of as a silly ass gimmick. Mm-hmm. WrestleMania 9 did a great job selling him to me. Like I played with him in 2K. I put him on my Survivor Series team. My son's like, "This is a dude. Why pick Doink?" I was like, "You wait and see." And I was kicking ass with him. He was fun. This was not a good use of him at all. I thought that this is when you make the gimmick kind of silly, Not too much to talk about this. If I think Owen Hart, which it was a 5-star, if you want to put a Dave Meltzer rating on here, 5-star to start the show, 1.5 for match 2.
Yeah, it just if you want to do Bam Bam versus Doink, that could have worked.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with that.
But you add the Dink and you add Luna, it becomes a disaster. And this was a complete disaster. It looked like I rewound this. The very end where Bam Bam does the finish, he didn't even care. A stone cold face look on it. Like he's like, this is ridiculous. Like I could just see the body motion or the body language of Bam Bam Bigelow during this match. But instead of talking about this match, I halfway through this WrestleMania, I got so fed up with Jerry the King Lawler and Vince. I hate they're the worst. They are by far the worst commentary I've ever heard. Well, Excalibur and Tony Schiavone are the worst of all time, but it's bad. But this was bad for WrestleMania, and there might be a new segment of next week called Jerry said this. Jerry said what? Dude, he was saying the worst stuff you could I know that's his gimmick. I know that's what, but man, what? I'm sorry. It sucked. It was so bad. But just like this match. But the next match, I can't even say it was even better.
No. This is the one that I will say, because again, you would think Bam Bam is, but again, when you have that Dink and Luna, you kind of expect that. So there was no real expectation, but I was kind of like, oh, okay. And it lived up to that expectation. There was a match later on, which was very fast, 35 seconds. But again, that I understood it, so it didn't bother me too much. But we'll get to that. But when I see one of the greatest of all time, who, in your opinion, right there, maybe 1-2 greatest match of all time with Ric Flair just a couple years back, or maybe last year, the last WrestleMania, the Macho Man Randy Savage taking on Crush with Mr. Fuji in a Falls Count Anywhere match. I'm going to be very honest. I was so confused.
This match sucked.
By this match. You have 60 seconds to get back in the ring. Was it an Iron Man match? Was it whoever gets the most falls? So basically, you pin him. You got to run back to the ring and hope he doesn't come back in 60 seconds. So not only does 3 seconds not count, you got to hope 60 seconds it can hold him down. It was confusing. It was a waste of Randy Savage's time. You could have put him against Bam Bam Bigelow. You could have put him against any one of these guys. You could have saved, maybe put him in a match with Yokozuna or Lex Luger, or maybe Yokozuna and Macho, and put Bret and Luger at the main event, or Bret and Owen in the main event. But you put him against Crush, who, again, I know how much he's beloved with Mark Undertaker, and he was a part of that group, and he has the size. But my gosh, there's 2 WrestleManias in a row where I'm like, get this guy off my screen. I don't get it. This was a waste of time. This was 9 minutes of my life I would never get back with my kids and my wife. I am sad. I'm gonna be regretting this for the rest of my life. No, I hated it. I hated it. It sucked because I love the Macho Man, but I hated this match for him.
So it started off like, oh, falls count anywhere. Okay,
yes,
this is cool. In 1994, all right. And then this dude smashes Randy Savage. Right away, immediately, the match starts immediately because Savage jumps Crush. Crush picks Savage up. Well, they brawl a little bit. Picks him up, drops his neck on the barricade, pins him 1, 2, 3. I'm like, 30-second match. All right, they're just squashing Randy on the way out. They're putting Randy Savage is putting this guy over on his way out, and then Crush runs to the ring. I'm like, wait, he just won. He just won the match. Falls count anywhere. He's got 60 seconds to get.
Yep.
The match just started. He's fresh. I've seen Macho Man get way worse beatdowns in 30 seconds, and he struggles to get there in 60 seconds. And then to make things even worse, at the very end, Macho does his signature elbow drop. He's not pinning him. He's too busy trying to get him out of the ring to make the pinfall outside of the ring just to get back. Whoever came up with this idea, I hope we don't run into it again. Was it like you said, was it a Iron Man match? Was it a false count anywhere match? Was it a last man standing match? What was this match? What was it? It was a disaster and a waste of Macho Man's last match on WWE television. So it is what it is.
100%. Moving on, we get a women's championship match. Alundra Blaze taking on Leilani Kai. What did you think of this one?
All I could think about is King's disgusting commentary during this match. He was horrible. During this match. But I don't know who this Leilani Kai is, but this match was it was something. I don't know. Like, it was something. I don't know what to say, Buffy. I don't know what to say.
Well,
it's a women's match.
3 minutes. It was only 3 minutes. I'll tell you, Alundra Blaze, she did, I'm trying to remember the exact, but there was one move that she did that I thought was impressive for that time. And women's wrestling does not get any better as the years go on. It becomes, obviously, with Jerry King Lawler on commentary and where WWF goes at this point, not too far away from this point, we know what we're getting into. It's not what today is. Women's wrestling today is on a whole other level, right? Rhea, Charlotte, Io, Mercedes, Tony, there's so many great, like, you could sit there and watch a women's match and come out going, this was amazing. As a wrestling fan, I love to have seen this. Back then, women's matches were, when it gets to eventually is how fast, this is a sex appeal. This is what we're watching them for. Get them out. Now let's get back to cheering on the show, So, but that's not what this is. It was fine. It was fine. It didn't really show the skill. Blaze is not bad. Blaze was great.
No.
She was great. But it didn't give her the time and place to really showcase those skills. They gave her only 3 minutes. There was a couple moves in there where you go, damn, she could hang with probably the women of today. But you didn't get really a chance to see that in this match because that's where they were on the totem pole. Unfortunately, they're not as important. And we know where they go to at this point. And that kind of comes to point of view with Jerry the King Lawler's commentary. That's where they're going with this. So kind of sucks because, as Maria says there, Alundra was an amazing women wrestler. She was really good. And you saw some of that in this match, but you don't really get to see the true appeal of it. And I don't think that's Kai's fault. I think Kai is good, but it was like, hey, you got 3 minutes, do something and get out. And that's what it was. I mean, you gave freaking 6 minutes to Dink the Clown and Luna. You can't give, whatever. Anyway, we go to another one, to the next match. Alundra defeats Leilani Kai for the women's title in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Then we get the sixth match on the card. And this one, I'm going to be very honest. To start it off, man on a mission, taking on the Quebecers with Johnny Polo, which is Raven, as we know him. Which is funny, is that's my brother-in-law's name, is Johnny Polo. So I think that's hilarious. Johnny Polo, I'm like, that motherfucker. Oh, no, that's not the wrong one. I was like, but it's really funny. But anyway, I didn't think this one was bad. I thought this was fun. This was a fun match. I really got into Man on a Mission. They were fun. I liked their entrance. I was like, we know Mabel as Facera, right? So it was really cool to see these guys, and I didn't hate it. I didn't hate this. This was fun, Josh. Again, not a lot of this, not a lot of those kind of disqualification countouts, random things. I made a sandwich during this stupid match. But they win by a countout, and they held the belts, which again, I don't know why they did that. I don't know why Big Man loved to kind of roll that way, where in the story, hey, I don't want the Quebecers to really lose a belt. Let's go ahead and have them, and then we'll have the men on a mission steal the belts. Like, we won't give it. Why are they not taking them? Oh my God, they're thieves. It's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. But it was like, could have just gave them the belts, or just have Quebecers win, cheat and win. I hate the countouts. Watching these WrestleManias, I hate countouts. I hate DQs. It's like,
yes,
it's a cheap finish. But go ahead.
So people are over. Or these guys were over. I don't know who they were.
They were over.
I know Viscera. I know. May. But like, it's like, I felt like in this time, or maybe like they just get the crowd up, right? They're singing, they're rapping, they're singing, they're getting the crowd in. That's all it takes to get over in wrestling. Sometimes. Look at the Street Profits. Like, all they did with their crap. Ooh, we want the smoke. Like, it's very easy if you have a catchphrase or you sing a song like Our Truth. Get over. These guys, I didn't know who they were until I saw them. I'm like, oh, okay, that's Visser. Who's that old dude? I don't know who that old dude is. Okay, cool. Well, they're losing this match. That's what I thought the whole time. Well, they're losing this match, and it was whatever. It was a 7-minute match, but like Maria said, I could have made a sandwich during this match. I could have, but I wasn't hungry, so I stayed around. I stuck around.
But I wasn't hungry. I like that. The next one, we get the first WWF Championship match on the card with special guest referee Mr. Perfect. This match went for about 14 minutes. Lex Luger taking on Yokozuna. Yokozuna, the champion, with Fuji and Jim Cornette in his corner. Josh, I'll let you start with this match.
So this was the coin toss, right? They both won the Rumble, or they both got eliminated at the same time. So then Luger and Bret have a title shot at WrestleMania. That's why it was set up. For the people that didn't know this, that's why it was set up. I don't know why. Well, I guess it makes sense. Mr. Perfect is the guest referee, and Piper was the referee in the other one. It makes sense, I guess. But can I just say, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat here, Yokozuna might be the most boring wrestler in the history of wrestling. His matches are so slow, so uninteresting, so just. And then you add Lex Luger in there with he has a body, but I was never a Lex guy. He doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have it. He's just Lex Luger to me. I never thought he was cool. So I'm just going through this match and going, man, Mr. Perfect is doing a damn good job refereeing. That's my takeaway from this match. Because, gosh, these two guys suck. Or they don't suck. They're doing their job. They're doing they're wrestling how they're supposed to wrestle. It's just not the way I like to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
But the end was so lame. The end was so lame, but I guess it has to be that way because I'm assuming Luger and Perfect have a program after this. You would assume, because that's the only thing that makes sense. And we knew Bret they have to make up for last year. That's all this was. WrestleMania 10 was like, oh, we screwed up with Hogan last year. Bret will just make it up to you next year. And that's what happened here. You can't have Luger win. Although I would have much rather seen Luger and Bret main event.
Yes.
Than Yoko.
Yes. So this is the issue with, first off, Yokozuna is a legend, right? We know how great Yoko is. But this is why you want to get guys who know how to work with those type of guys. Make them look strong, but at the same time, keep the match entertaining for the fans. You think about, again, Hogan and Andre. Yoko was a little more, athletic and could do more things. But Andre at that time, at WrestleMania 3, was not agile, didn't do a lot in the ring. But what Hogan did was able to entertain the fans, get them enough to sell. He brings the crowd into it. Lex, I was showing my son, I was like, Lex was that guy that they thought could replace Hogan. The American trunks and, all this. But I don't see it. He didn't try to lift him. He didn't try to bring in the crowd. It was very slow pace, and again, I take this. First off, the finish was horrible. I'm just going to say that. I agree 1,000%. It was dumb. Both guys are in the ring. Luger makes Luger look stupid. Count. Come on. And Perfect is trying to get him out of the ring, which again, at the same time, yes, count. Who cares who's in the ring? He has a pin. They're not touching. It was really, really dumb. And I didn't think you needed to do Yokozuna twice. You didn't need to do that. It could have been Luger, Bret. And we will do this show. The show we're going to do next is the What If episode of the 10 WrestleManias. What could have been the main event at WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Do we keep them or do we change them? And this would be one that we would change. You could have gone Owen Hart versus Bret Hart, possibly. Or in this scenario, like the Royal Rumble, you could have done Bret versus Luger in the championship match. Let's say Luger goes over on Yoko in this first match, challenges Bret Hart. Bret Hart wins and finishes the show. That could have been the case for this match, but it wasn't. So it didn't look good. I understood it. Lex, the Lex commentary it's perfect after the match. They go backstage. I just did this Nitro Rewind episode 1, and that was the first Nitro, and Lex Luger shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Lex Luger shows up. They do it really well. Sting and Ric Flair, they sell it. The commentators, Bobby Heenan, Eric Bischoff, Steve Mongo McMichael, they sell it. Who is he? Why is he here? Oh, I know who he is. He has a cut. It was great. They sold it well. You're like, holy crap. Main event is Big Bubba Rogers, which is Big Boss Man taking on Hulk Hogan for the world title. Okay. They have the match, typical Hogan match. 1, 2, 3. Dungeon of Doom comes out Lex Luger. Luger makes the save. Hogan and him hit backs. They turn around. They're about to fight. They're yelling at each other. Mean Gene comes in. Randy Savage, Sting come in. They separate it. Here comes Mean Gene right after the commercial break. We have to get this commentary. And Luger is one of the best, right? We know him. He's a legend, right? He's paid his dues. There's no doubt. He cannot be your cup of tea, but he's made his dues. He's been in the NWA. He's been in WCW, WWF. He's done it all in this business. He can't talk worth the whatever he was saying to Hulk Hogan, I was listening to them, and he's saying, no, but the point is, it's the same thing here. It's the same. He tells Hogan, I've been where you've been. I've beaten who you've beaten. And I'm done. I'm sick playing with little boys. I want to play with the big boys playing. And I'm like, what? It's just a whole bunch of randomness. And after this match, I saw that, and I'm kind of like, it gave me a different perspective of Lex Luger at the top. So, they should have had maybe somebody speaking for him, speak on his behalf. He could say a couple words, but have someone else do the talking for him. He's better as a heel as he is as a babyface. Because as a heel, you can make up for not talking so damn good. As a babyface, you're trying to find the words. Didn't work. So it was okay. It highlighted some of their strengths, but it also it slowed down the show, this match. And then afterwards, the whole back and forth left me going, what the hell did they talk about? I don't know what perfect. And I know they were yelling about the finish, but I don't understand a word they were saying. Either way. Then we get a very quick match right after.
Oh, yeah.
Harvey Whippleman and Howard Finkel. New hair. They got a hair wig on him there. Looks really done up good. Harvey comes in, rips the shirt, talks trash to Finkel. Finkel pushes him. Here comes Adam Bomb, who looks phenomenal, by the way. I mean, this is a guy you look at and you go, they could push this dude. And I've always thought that about him. Wrath in WCW he was known as. Phenomenal. Comes out from behind, like, oh crap, Fink! And here comes Earthquake. Earthquake comes out, scoop slam or power slam, splat the tremors, big Earthquake smash, 1, 2, 3, 30 seconds, 35 seconds. Fast to the point. Let's get it over with. I don't know why that match was set up. Crazy. Oh, Chronic. Was it Chronic or was Wrath maybe Crush? Probably Crush was Wrath. But either way, the same thing. I think Chronic was the tag name, but I could be wrong. Either way. What do you think of this one?
There's no thoughts. It's who cares? Earthquake. I thought he was a heel. I guess he's not a heel anymore. Cool. I thought it was Wrath too. I'm like, oh look, Wrath. I saw Wrath. That's my takeaway. Oh look, it's Wrath. When's the next match? When's the fucking ladder match? Sorry. When is the ladder match? That's what I was thinking during this match. I'm like, guys, when is this ladder match? Because we need to get there. We need to get there. And we got there.
We got it.
And I know that Maria and people in the chat already said this was the best match of the night. And I have no arguments. I'm not going to argue with you to say, no, you're wrong. Because you're right. It's like, oh, I like Jennifer Aniston. I like Courtney Cox. It doesn't matter. They're both gorgeous. Both of these matches were amazing. Both. Owen and Bret and this one. These were the two highlights of the card. This one, if you like the ladder portion of it, I do like it. I liked how they used one ladder. I've already seen this match multiple times, but I watched it again anyway. I like how there's one ladder. I like how they use the ladder. I like how every single spot matters. I love when I watch WWE now or AEW or any promotion, there's a ladder match and there's 15 ladders around. There's 20 ladders around. Sure, you can do good spots. Sure, you can do cool things with these ladders, but they're becoming a point where it's like the circus where everything, oh, look, he's setting up the bridge between the apron and oh, look, he's doing the part where he does this. Like, oh, look, I bet you Pinta's going to do a Canadian Destroyer off that later today because they set it up so he could. This match was different because you didn't know what they were going to do with the ladders. Shawn getting on the top rope, jumping, putting his body, laying down his body on Razor with the ladder. The big splash, back when I was a youngin when I watched this match, I'm like, who cares? Big splash, who cares? Like Jeff Hardy does that in his sleep. But then you look at it as an adult and like where they were, yeah, look at his foot. It's above the top rope. He was standing above the top rope at that time. That didn't happen often.
No.
Everything about this Razor was a good guy. Razor ends up winning this match, which I think was the right choice, of course.
It was.
And you just saw how well they worked. Like this was a professional match. They knew every spot. They didn't make it look unnatural. They made it look like there was a real fight, and they made it look like they just wanted to win those titles so bad. I enjoyed this match very, very well. We shouldn't have had the second match after this. This could have main evented the card.
Mm-hmm.
This could have main evented. We didn't need Bret winning the title. Like, honestly, in my opinion, because we go from this straight into the next match, which we'll talk about after this one, of course. And you go from an all-time high to like, in this end to me. So this match showed Razor's true strengths. He should have been a champion. He looked phenomenal.
Yep.
Oh, he looked so good in this match. And Shawn looked so good in this match. Shawn was so cocky. Shawn had that segment earlier with that celebrity lady. I don't know who she was.
With Burt Reynolds and all that.
Burt Reynolds came in. Yeah, like this was a very high celebrity WrestleMania too. There was a lot of celebrities there.
We had Bill Clinton there, the president.
The president there. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. The president is here. I was like, okay.
He looks so odd with IRS and
with $1 Million Man.
Yeah. But I understand he got the gimmicks. But anyway, back to this. This should have main evented the card. I don't know, say what you want about ladder matches back then, but that ladder was almost broken by the time they were done with it. And it reminds me of like the Spider-Man movie. When he's fighting the main bad guy at the very end, his mask is all torn off. He's beaten up. He's disheveled. That's the way a ladder should look after a ladder match. Not perfectly, not a 10-foot ladder. Rope, make sure the hard cam, make sure it's centered perfectly for the hard cam. Make sure when I grab that belt, the hard cam is on me. No, this was a real like ladder match. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was I agree with you. I prefer this match over this. Hardly ever, ladder matches could be fun, right? You think of the tables, ladders, and chairs match with the Dudleys and Edge and Christian and the Hardys, and so I'm not taking away from that. The first type of Money in the Bank match is a lot of fun, but this will always be above them because it was the start of it all and the way the ladder was used. It's basically a triple threat match: Shawn versus Razor versus the ladder. The ladder was it was a performer of this match. It was used the right way. It felt real. It felt, like you said, it was shaking. It was like, holy crap. And again, this was the first match of the first two WrestleManias that we've seen solo with Shawn Michaels, who opened the card for both WrestleManias, the last two. I told you, I was not happy. I wasn't impressed with Shawn Michaels' two matches that we saw. This one blew him away. This match blew those two away. It tells you the chemistry between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, but it also tells you how great Scott Hall was as well. you said it. It felt like a real fight. My son said, he says, is that spit or is that sweat fly? Like he couldn't tell if it was a real hit. And I said, well, Tristan, those two were so close. I said, that they could trust each other to do those type of things. So it could be an actual tap here and there, it's the steal of the show. And they kind of done that, right? We could say Owen and Bret were close to 5 stars to 5-star matches potentially. And we could say this one was not there, but it was the better match on the card. There was more on the line. Like you would think Owen and Bret had more on the line, but it felt scientific more than it felt personal. The story was personal, but it felt like, let's put on a great show. Who can out wrestle whoever? This one felt personal. This one felt like I'm going to try to hurt you. I'm going to dive. You go, oh, Jeff Hardy could do 20 spins off the ladder. He could get the very top and do a freaking 460 on you. Oh, all Bret's doing is a splash. All he's doing is whole ladder, but that meant something. The drop kick to drop the ladder and him falling for the, think about that for a minute. Like there are things in there where it felt real. And then the finish, look how you could tell Shawn Michaels at that moment in time, or even both of them, but they're both very smart. And Scott Hall, if you have never listened to him talk about the psychiatry of wrestling and things like that, I don't know if that had a lot to play into this match, because they did that rope spot so well, where Shawn's leg is trapped and he's trying, and Razor's smart enough to, I'm going to take advantage now. And I'm like, oh, he's going to get out too early. He's getting out too early. I was going to say that's going to look stupid if he gets out and he says, no, what happens now? Shawn, as he's getting his leg out, gets his hand tied up. And then that's where Razor pulls it out. And then Shawn all of a sudden pulls his arm out and grabs it. It was a great spot. It was perfect. The referee holding the ladder as Razor gets back up and celebrates with the 2 belts. And you see the ladder is wobbling so bad it can barely stand anymore. This match will go down in time as maybe the greatest ladder match of all time, in my opinion, because of what it meant to wrestling, but also the way they used the ladder. When Ric Flair, who many consider the greatest, right? But he could be so back and forth with his opinions. But there was a while back where I heard him say, Scott Hall's only famous because he had because Shawn Michaels had a match with a ladder at WrestleMania 10. That's wrong. Scott Hall was one of the greatest in-ring performers of all time. And I agree with you 1,000%. And I know this is something we've talked about, and maybe that's another show, but I will say that he should have been a world champion at some point in time, even if it was just a little while, because he had the character, the gimmick, he had the physique, he had the mic skills. He was the total package, no pun intended, towards Lex Luger. But we're trying to push Lex Luger, but not Razor Ramon. Didn't make any sense for me. I'm glad he had these historic matches, but you get to see how great he was, because this showed it and also showed where Shawn was going. Shawn Michaels is getting to that point now where it's like he's the showstopper, the stealer. And as much as I love Kevin Nash, which I thought was so stupid, they start off the match by saying, no rules. There are no rules.
No rules.
He interferes and they go, get out. I'm like, why? Yeah. What's the point? That was the one stupid thing of this match.
That's why it's a 4.75 star, Maria.
There you go.
Right there.
One thing. But no, there's no doubt that Scott Hall in the ring as a mic, and it was great, right? I'm not saying that. But yeah. So anyway, unbelievable. Now we get to the final match. Bret versus Yokozuna, WWE titles, Roddy Piper, special guest referee. I'm with you. This match, I was done at that point. I felt great with Scott Hall as Razor Ramon and Bret Hart. And Shawn Michaels. I've seen this match here and there. I didn't really pay attention to it. I got to the ending was so fast. The truth was the ending was so fast. I was kind of like, okay, Yoko's pissed. He rolls out, and then we get the Cody Rhodes treatment. Everybody's coming in the ring. They're celebrating Bret Hart. He has his belt. They made up for WrestleMania 9, which should have been the finish of WrestleMania 9. Lex Luger should have been Hulk Hogan coming in and shaking his hand and holding it up. And you got that little passing of the torch, and you would have been better off. but McMahon had to go to Hogan, and now you have this where Luger comes in, and what's going to happen here? And and everybody's coming to Hogan, and they give all the love and everything for Bret Hart. Great moment. Owen comes out. Owen's kind of staring him down, and you got McMahon in the ring. You got Gorilla Monsoon, who looks great. Because I know eventually he gets sick, and so I was like, oh, maybe he's not on, because he said no, he looks like Gorilla. But you have all the baby faces come out. Razor puts him on his shoulder. Piper's there. Cool ending. It's the Cody Rhodes treatment, But as Maria says, we kind of know how this story ends. But still, good ending. Not a great match.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I don't need to see Yokozuna wrestle twice in one night. I would like to see Bret Hart wrestle twice in one night, not Yokozuna. The match, the finish was Yoko just slipped off the top, right? Top ropes, fell backwards. Bret wins, 1, 2, 3. Again, we could have had Bret and now I'm not saying Bret and Luger would have been better. I'm not saying it would have been better, but I'm saying it would have been something different. We saw this last year. We saw this literally WrestleMania 9. It closed the show 2 years in a row. But hey, that's a WWE thing. That's what they do. They get their stars. They ride their stars until they're not stars anymore, and they try to find a new one. And they tried to find Bret Hart as a star. And as much as people like Maria and yourself, probably Bobby, I'm not putting words in your mouth. Yeah, he was the guy. And yeah, WCW does take over. But was it Bret's fault? Was it Bret's fault? I don't know.
Well, I think Maria's point there at the end there was saying this type of booking Bret Hart.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, again, but that's why if you go back, like right there, he could work with anybody. But you have him work with a 500-pound guy, it doesn't look as good. Luger versus Bret would have been better because Luger's not great in the ring like a Bret Hart, but Bret could have made him look really good. It probably would have put on a good match. I agree with that, Maria. And again, we see it later on, right? Shawn Michaels for Bret Hart. Those two are wrestling soulmates. As much as they hate each other and they didn't like each other, those two could put on an unbelievable show. I do believe Bret Hart didn't have the charisma, right? Or the, let me tell you something, he wasn't like that, but his in-ring skills, his look was great to me. I know he says, I didn't have the look and blah, blah. No, you did. You didn't have to be jacked, the black and pink, the hair, like you had the look. Fans wanted to be you. That's the thing. Do kids want to buy your merchandise? Yes. Do guys want to be you? Yes. Can you put on a great match? Yes. So he had everything. Now the mic skills weren't great, but the booking was not great either. Bret should not have been in that match. They should have done Luger versus Bret, or they should have said, okay, Owen and Bret, you end the show. Let's make it personal. And it would have been better off. But they say, let's put Yoko twice. And I love Yoko, right? Whatever. But you don't do that twice. It drowns the show, and you're misusing Bret Hart. So hopefully we know what comes later on down the line, but we also know what works. And Lex Luger and Bret Hart would have worked better than Yoko and Bret, but it is what it is. Josh, I know this is what everybody's waiting for. I actually put it in the header today. WrestleMania 10, where does it rank amongst the 10 WrestleManias that we've seen so far, in your opinion?
So as much as I don't want to do that, no, I'm going to do it. It's number 3. It's in the top 3. I can't rate. Yeah, exactly. It's up there. It's up there. The highest it could possibly go. I have 8 and 5 above them. 8 is still number 1 in my eyes. 5 is number 2. But the reason why I put it so high is because I don't think anything's going to be worse than what we already saw. I think the worst is already behind us. The golden age crap, the crap with the trunks and they're doing hip tosses and it's boring and count out finishes are left and right and DQ finishes are left and right. Those days are over. We're getting into really good wrestling and really good wrestlers, really good stories, and of course bias. I know these wrestlers better than I knew the wrestlers in the past. So 10 might be the baseline now. Is 11 going to be better than 10? I don't know. I don't know one match on 11. I can't wait to watch it eventually. But next week, we're not going to watch it. Next week, we're doing a recap of all the main events and what we would have done differently. But I can't wait to get to 11, Bobby. Does anyone know? Yes, top 3, Maria. Yeah. What's wrong with that? Yeah. It had two of the greatest matches of all time in it. If you have, how many matches were there? I'm scrolling back up in my notes. If you have, I think there was 9 matches. I believe there was 9. Yeah, there was 9 matches. And 2 of them were all-time bangers. Whether you don't think Bret Hart and Owen was a top 10 match or top whatever match, up to this point, WrestleMania 10, that's a top 5 wrestling match at WrestleMania.
I think WrestleMania 10 out of the 10 was is in that top. I would say 2 and 3. I think WrestleMania 8 to me is number 1 right now. That's Macho Rick, right? And so I would say, I mean, WrestleMania 8 and then WrestleMania 10 is 1, 2, and then you say 5. I think that's fair. I will say though, this is the first, obviously without Hogan, right? The first WrestleMania without Hogan. Also, no Undertaker in this WrestleMania either.
He got hurt in that.
He was hurt before that, right?
Yeah, he got hurt in the Yokozuna match where he became a spirit. And
that's right. He goes up in the casket match. That's correct. Okay. I think that's when he was getting his first divorce behind the scenes and, got that lit out and, I will return, It's like, oh, he's not here. Okay. But either way, he comes back the next WrestleMania. But anyway, WrestleMania 11 is next, and Maria is spoiling it. She's saying it's very mid. So maybe this might be the worst WrestleMania, but we will see.
It can't get worse than WrestleMania 3, guys. That's going to be the it can't get worse than that, dude. I'll never buy the hype. I'll never understand it. Anytime I'll watch that show 100 times in a row and I'll never understand why.
Steamboat, Macho, Hogan, Andre. I don't know how you could say that, but to each their own. WrestleMania 9 was the worst. I didn't like WrestleMania 9. I didn't like WrestleMania. But again, what we're doing for No Holds Barred Wrestling Channel, at least in regards of the WrestleMania series, we're gonna next Saturday. What we're doing is a what if episode for the WrestleMania matches. We're gonna talk about the main events of WrestleMania. We'll talk about the main event, and then we're gonna say what could have been the main event. Like the first WrestleMania main event was Hogan, Mr. T, Piper, Orndorff. Could have been Hogan, Piper, or do you keep that because of the celebrity? And in WrestleMania 2, could it have been Hogan, Piper instead of Mr. T, Piper, or Big King Kong Bundy, Hogan in the cage? Those are things we're gonna talk about. I'm excited to talk about that because I said it on because I can't stand the IWC. It drives me crazy all the time. They bitch and moan. They're killing his booking. They're doing this to her. It's like, dude, can't we just sit back and enjoy the freaking show? Can't we just sit there and do that? Stop playing Booker and just be a fan. You cheer your guy when he's winning. You hope for the best when he's, after he loses, and we do. Now, saying all that, we will be playing Booker next Saturday when we talk about the WrestleManias. What should have been that card? We're going to play Armchair Booker for that match. I can't wait to hear Josh say Double or Nothing was his favorite AEW show.
Listen, there's a lot of AEW shows that are great, and I know my girl came back on Dynamite. I did not watch Dynamite this week, guys. I was busy.
I've heard it was the greatest Dynamite ever. That's what I've been
I'm
hearing.
sorry. Listen, this isn't the rundown real quick, but when you have another heel, a new heel join a dead faction like the Don Callis family, you already killed Kevin Knight. It's already done. You already messed him up. Did you see
Don Callis' teeth fall out? I saw that.
Yes, I did. But you already messed up Kevin Knight. I'm pissed off about it.
I'm going to switch this up. Hold on a second.
Right, go ahead.
It might not work. Give me a second here. I need to do this. How can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, hold on a second.
What are we doing?
Okay,
we're going
to say
Dynamite Run.
Let me just say, as we're talking about Dynamite here, I'm in the background.
Hey, Dynamite Rundown. I didn't watch it, but I saw Mercedes came back and they ruined Kevin Knight. Tune in next week as I break down everything else that they're going to ruin Tony Khan land on Wednesday nights. I am going to watch it this week, by the way. I am, because I Mercedes back, so I have to because she's the GOAT. And I need to see how they're going to mess up Kevin Knight, because I thought that in a world, him and Swerve would have been amazing together in a parallel universe. But no, we get the Don Callis family. Who else is in it? Everybody in the world? Every heel ever existed? Sure, why not? Either way, Dynamite next week, full recap. I promise to everybody. Can we get Bobby back in here now? Because I'm just going to close the show if not. Seriously, because I didn't watch anything else. Kevin Knight, the Don Callis family, is effing stupid, Justin Toner says. Yeah, it is stupid.
So just want to do that. Maybe we'll snip it and promote it on the channel. But I just want to say, am I on the wrong Dynamite? I put on Dynamite, and it was I'll just say, for maybe Maria could tell me, or Justin, there's Ricochet versus Chris Jericho. Is that the wrong one? Is that the Dynamite before? Maybe I'm off it. But either way, Kevin Knight, He's he beat up Speedball, right? He beat up
he
Darby
beat him
Allin?
up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's very interesting. I liked his promo at the top. If I'm on the right one. That was last week. So this okay. So but I saw his promo and I was like, who is this guy? I think that's kind of cool. But either way, that was last week. Okay, so I'm a week behind, but that's okay. I started. That's what do you call that's something, right?
That's progress, brother.
That's growth, baby. I mean, yeah, that's progress, right? Let's do the whole thing, right? Either way. So you got check out Dynamite Rundown with Josh Kimmel. You know what you're getting. You're gonna see it on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel. Appreciate all you guys tuning in here to our WrestleMania Rewind series. I have it's a lot of fun. Make sure you check out the Ruckus Wrestling podcast. You check out Too Raw for SmackDown with Adrian, the Rainy Day podcast. Great guys who do great stuff for professional wrestling. And of course, the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel. Thursdays, Real Talk Wrestling, Dynamite Rundown, Nitro Rewind. I will be doing Nitro episode 2. That will be on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel so you could see that show. Let me drop the link for that for the channel in the comments. So if you're watching this post show, you've got it, and you could join in on the conversation. Talk about the Nitro, and make sure you hit that notifications bell so you could watch along. You'll see Dynamite Rundown on there and other special programs. Josh and I might be bored one day. Say, hey, you want to talk about this? And we're going to go live on Nitro on the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel instead of FTSN. You might see that because we're going to have some special content on there. And we want to get you guys involved. We want to get you on there as well. We had Justin on there the other night talking about Clash in Italy, and it was great. So make sure you like and subscribe to FTSN for great sports content. You got Fantasy Now Plus. You got Vince Talk Today. You've got East 10th Street Boys. Real Talk Vince Talk, Real Talk. This is great stuff. And then, of course, the No Holds Barred Wrestling channel. And, of course, FTSN Extra. I'm Bobby Melendez. That's Josh Kimmel. Like and subscribe. Have a great Saturday, everybody. See you soon.